Hi guys, this is Unboxing Tech, and in this video I have with me the iPhone 15 Pro Max in natural titanium. And for it, I have some cases I wanted to review today. More specifically, I have 7 different cases from 7 different brands, but they all have one major point in common. We're focusing on cases with a built-in kickstand. These kickstands can come in all different sizes, shapes, and methods, but all these cases will have a kickstand that will make it easy to prop up your device so you can watch videos or have FaceTime calls without needing to hold up your phone. So, let's get right to it. First off, we have the Ultra Hybrid S case from Spigen. I have it in the crystal clear. The Ultra Hybrid S case, as its name states, is a hybrid case, meaning it uses a mix of flexible TPU frames and a hard polycarbonate back. Just from holding it in my hand, I can tell that this is a well-built case. It's definitely on a higher end. It might be due to that, but it's a bit heftier than you might expect with a weight of 65.1 grams. Installation was easy enough, although the TPU frame is a bit on the stiffer side. And here it is. A clean and clear look. On the bottom, we see the nicely cut out ports. Here is the Spigen logo. The buttons do look rather unique with this circle and circle design. The power and volume buttons are easy to locate and press, but the action button requires a bit of a firmer touch. By the way, I already have a screen protector installed, so this is the amount of lift around the screen with a glass screen protector. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed. The edges are pretty much flush with the screen, meaning the screen will make direct contact with a tabletop if placed screen down, resulting in scratches on the glass. Which kind of makes the super thick back panel hilarious. I get it though, with the kickstand and the MagSafe magnet, it's an unavoidable design. The camera is a fully open cutout, and the lifted edges are about even with the camera protector. Now let's move on to the main star. This case's kickstand opens up to a max of 65 degrees. It's located on the bottom of the case, making it ideal for a horizontal landscape view. The location of it is great for supporting the device, resulting in very minimal wobbling when tapping on the edges of the phone. While you can prop up the device on any side, the 65-degree angle doesn't really give much room for adjustments. You can also prop it up vertically for FaceTime calls. I wouldn't touch the screen in this position though. So the Ultra Hybrid case's kickstand does support the phone from all 4 sides. Moving on, let's test out the MagSafe ring. More specifically, we'll be testing the overall magnetic strength. We'll be using this Ringke smart ring I got, and we'll see if the magnet can withstand being swung around a bit. So initial impressions. This is a powerful magnet. Although it doesn't require a boatload of strength to pull off the smart ring, I still do have to exert some effort to get it off. And as you can see, the phone is hanging on very solidly through sheer magnetic strength. Very nice. So the Spigen Ultra Hybrid S is a pretty good case overall. Some things of note are that the case is very thick. The TPU sides are also on the thicker side for a standard clear hybrid case of this sort. The MagSafe was great, and the kickstand also had a solid performance, so my overall impression of the case is positive. However, I can't get over the lack of the front screen protection in this case. It feels to me that Spigen was sacrificing the front screen in exchange for thickening the back, hoping it would lessen the overall bulkiness of the case. The case was going to be bulky regardless, so I would have preferred if they just committed to having a full protection for the device. But other than that, it's a good case. Next, we have the Alice case from Ringke. This case is newly released, and it's Ringke's version of a heavy-duty protection case for the iPhone. It is a double-layered case that comes in 2 separate pieces. The inner lining is a flexible TPU, which is great for impact absorption. The outer part is a polycarbonate shell. The MagSafe magnets are built into this part. As you can expect, this is a pretty sturdy case. It doesn't have a lot of give all around and has an overall high quality feeling. Despite it having 2 separate layers, it weighs around 66 grams, which is comparable to the Spigen Ultra Hybrid case. The case itself was easy to install, you just need to pay attention to the top half with the camera cutout. And here it is, looking super sleek. Here are the cutouts on the bottom that are made to match. And here are the buttons on the case. Initially, I felt a little weird about them, but I couldn't put a finger on why until I realized that this case is flat on all four sides, so there aren't any bumps to indicate where the buttons are. I also just noticed the lanyard hole at the bottom corners of the case on both sides, so you can put straps or charms on your case. Now, because the case is flat, it did take me a hot minute to locate the power button. But the buttons themselves are easy to press, and there's something weirdly satisfying about them. The larger button area is also ideal for people who have thicker fingers. Here around the screen is a lifted edge near the top and bottom of the case. It's kind of hard to tell unless you see it in person, but it is higher than the Spigen one was. On the back, we see that there is a cover around the camera lens, and I also have an additional camera lens cover that perfectly fits with this case. The kickstand for the Alice is located at the bottom. It's made of an aluminum alloy, and you can open it up via the divot at the end. Underneath, you can see the TPU case, and here's what the connecting hinge looks like. The Ringke Alice case opens up to a wider angle, which gives you a bit more freedom of angle customization when you put it on its side. It does wobble when pressed at the end without the hinge, so I'd be mindful of that if you need to rewind a video you're watching or something. I do like this super straight up angle option we're given. It's perfect for watching videos while lying down on some cushions. Or you can go for a super low angle instead. The kickstand holds pretty strong, so normal taps won't cause it to just close in on itself. When you want to set up your case vertically, I recommend making sure the kickstand is set at a smaller angle. Once you get it to the correct angle, the phone will stand up without issues on both vertical sides. So the kickstand does its job without any issues. Next, let's move on to the MagSafe ring. I like how the color of the MagSafe ring matches the color of the case for a simple and uniform look. Using the Ringke Smart Ring, I tested out the overall magnetic strength of the case and found it to be more than satisfactory. The Alice case is on the heavier side, so the magnets will need to work overtime to keep hold, but as you can see, there weren't any noticeable issues with the magnetic strain. All in all, I do believe the Ringke Alice case is more designed for people who want device protection, but the flat sides and back give it a streamlined outline for a rather low-key, minimalistic design. I don't normally wear rugged cases, but if I ever find myself needing one for whatever reason, this is a great choice, as it comes with the full package of the built-in kickstand, MagSafe ring, and this pretty heavy-duty package. Ringke personally sent this case to me, and I also received their other colors of gunmetal and dark green in addition to the black. Plus, I have a limited time discount code for 20% off for these cases if anyone's interested. You can find it in the description box. Next on the list is the Torras U Pro case. I grabbed their most popular color, black. From what I can see, this is a hybrid case made of silicone rubbered sides and a hard matte polycarbonate back. It doesn't feel as durable or robust as the other two cases I reviewed. As you can see, the silicone around the camera isn't backed by anything. The case weighs around 52 grams, which is like the equivalent of 2 AA batteries. It's super easy to install, and here's the final product. I do like the smoky matte polycarbonate. It looks good with the natural titanium. Here are the cutouts on the bottom. On the bottom left side is the Torras brand embossing. with the individually covered buttons. The buttons are all super easy to press, including the action button. One thing I would like to note is that the silicone does feel very nice to hold. It doesn't have like a texture on it, so it might be a different story if you have sweat-prone hands, but the sides feel very soft and powdery overall. There is a minimal lift around the edge of the screen, as you can see here. The camera also has an open cutout, and the edges are high enough to protect the lenses without any issues. The Torras U Pro kickstand is located at the bottom of the case. It's made of a stainless steel with their brand printed in the middle. You can open it up from this gap at the end, and you can see my initial surprise at how this hinge opens up at an angle. You can see that the connecting hinge of the kickstand is set at a slant, so when you open up the kickstand, it angles upwards rather than in a straight line. The widest angle of the kickstand is 57 degrees, which is good for basic video viewing but doesn't leave much room for angle customization. So if the phone does wobble a fair bit, it's probably due to the low orientation of the kickstand and its slanted design too. It sits vertically as well for FaceTime calls, but it does feel a little unsteady and a slight shake of the table will probably send it falling. However, I am fascinated with this idea of this slanted kickstand. It's so neat. Moving on to the MagSafe ring, to match the color of the case, the ring is also black. Looks very nice. The magnetic strength is also pretty impressive. And as long as you're not being silly with your phone, it's more than enough to keep you from accidentally losing any MagSafe accessories or accidentally disconnecting your charger. To summarize, I love the overall look of the Torras U Pro case. It does come in various colors if you prefer something more eye-catching. The silicone sides are a great touch, quite literally. It's smooth and easy to hold. And while I do think the kickstand design is nifty, I don't like it in practice. The angle it opens up at is very small and not very versatile. It honestly feels the most unstable of the ones I've reviewed thus far. Still a decent case, and visually it's one of my favorites. But depending on what you're looking for in kickstands, I'd maybe check out one of the other cases in this video. Next up, we have the Magic Stand case from Casekoo. Look at this lenticular image on the packaging. Super cool. Anyway, here's the actual case. I got it in the popular black color. It's a hybrid case with stretchy silicone sides and a matte polycarbonate back. It feels very soft to the touch, and the general makeup material is similar to the U Pro case, but I feel like this one's a little leaner. Like the sides feel thinner compared to the other cases thus far. Weight-wise is 50 grams, which is similar to the Torras case. The case goes onto the device super easily, and here it is. Here are the bottom cutouts. On the left side is a lanyard hole with the covered buttons. Right side doesn't have a lanyard hole, instead you can find the Casekoo branding. The buttons are super easy to press and responsive. Around the screen is some lifting for extra protection. And the same for the back around the open camera cutout. So you probably already noticed, but the kickstand for this case isn't located at the bottom of the case like the others. Instead, this whole MagSafe ring is the kickstand. It's made of an aluminum alloy, so it's guaranteed for durability. You can open it up from this divot at the top of the ring. So it opens up to about 120 degrees overall. And because of the centered position of the kickstand and the wide width, it is amazingly stable. However, there are some flaws to this design. One, because the kickstand opens up in this one direction and cannot be rotated, you cannot adjust the viewing angle horizontally. You just have one angle to choose from. On the flip side, you can adjust the angle when you place your phone vertically, but the hold of the kickstand is rather weak, so it will collapse in on itself if the angle is too low. But again, super stable support. Another flaw I noticed is that while you can use this MagSafe ring for charging, it's no good for anything else. Because of the kickstand, trying to use or apply any sort of pressure on the MagSafe ring will cause the kickstand to open up, rendering it unusable. I would not trust this MagSafe ring with any accessories like pop sockets or card holders, as it feels incredibly unsafe with how easily this hinge opens with just the slightest pull. So my end notes for the Casekoo Magic Stand case is that there are better cases out there. This case is incredibly slippery all around with very little grip. While I do see this MagSafe kickstand being a big selling point for some people, personally, I don't think it's a good idea, especially as this one is not rotating, so it doesn't offer any angle customization, nor can I use it as a holding ring for a better hold on my phone. I will say though, this case did come with these super cute sticker sheets, but I don't think it's worth it. You be your own judge though. Next up, we have the Unicorn Beetle case from Supcase. This is a single piece case made of TPU sides and a hard polycarbonate back. You can tell from just looking at it, but this case is heavy duty. It's also the heaviest of the bunch at 77 grams. It requires some finessing, but the installation of the case is relatively painless. And here it is with the phone installed, although it's hard to tell as every inch of this thing is covered up. The cutouts on the bottom are well designed. The sides are textured with this slanted ridge pattern. It's there to help with grip. The buttons are covered up, and on the right side is the Supcase branding. Despite the bulkiness of the case, the buttons are easy to press, including the action button. The front screen also has a noticeable lifted edge near the top and bottom of the case. It looks really good. On the back, we see the camera is fully concealed with a cover piece, which is great for full coverage protection. Underneath the cover, the camera is fully visible. You can tell from the light reflections, but the back of this case isn't fully flat. The area around the MagSafe ring does have a distinct patterning on it. Along with the textured side, this is a strongly made case. So this case doesn't have a distinguishable kickstand on the bottom or around the MagSafe ring, but instead this camera cover does more than just protect the camera. When you open it up, you can set it at an angle and use it as a kickstand. The cover itself does fold down all the way, but it's still sturdy enough to hold the weight of the device at most angles. The kickstand is fairly wide, so even if there is a slight wobble, the phone holds itself pretty steadily. The only issue is that the additional pressure of my finger did cause the kickstand to fold further down. The 180-degree range does allow for viewing angle customization horizontally. However, because the kickstand is at the top of the case, it's not made for FaceTime calls, as you can only get a low angle at this position. The inside of the camera cover does have a soft felt lining to protect the camera lenses against scratching, which is a positive. One negative though is that all the kickstands thus far snapped right back into place, but this one, it's kind of hard to tell if I even have it properly closed, as there's no clicking sound or a feeling of it snapping closed. Moving on, let's take a look at the MagSafe ring. As mentioned before, the back is textured and uneven. It's not so drastic that I would be worried about putting on a MagSafe card holder or anything, but it's something you should be aware of. In terms of magnetic strength, I was pleasantly surprised by just how strong it was. Because this case is so heavy, the magnet does need to be strong enough to hold it up. And as you can see, it's doing a fine job. If I saw someone rocking this case, I'd either think they were very clumsy and drop their phone a lot, or they're into extreme sports. It's a bulky, heavy case, but I can tell that this brings powerful protection to the table as well. While there are a lot of good points about this case, I'd warn against people who have sensory issues. Design-wise, this is such a busy case. The textures just all over the case might get a little annoying to people who are sensitive to such things. The kickstand is also in an interesting place and might not fit the needs of some people. Plus, this camera cover does get annoying if you're someone who likes taking pictures and videos on the fly. Last, but certainly not least, is the soft case with stash stand from ESR. It is a silicone case, so it does feel soft all over. However, it also feels the cheapest out of the cases I reviewed today. There should be a polycarbonate lining inside to help retain its shape, but the case is pretty delicate. It's also one of the lighter cases at 50 grams. So while this case did come in different color options, I went with the black. Flipping it to the bottom, we can see that the cutouts for the charging port and speakers are all made to fit. On the left side is a lanyard hole with the covered buttons. The buttons are easy to press and super responsive. The front screen does have an ample lift around the top and bottom of the case for extra protection. The camera cutout is fully open, and it has raised edges all around that go over the actual lenses. All in all, it's a good but pretty standard silicone case. We're not here to review standard silicone cases though. We're here to look at kickstands. ESR calls this their stash stand, which is fitting as it's stashed away. It's made of zinc alloy, and you can just open it up by using the jutting out grip on the side. The kickstand opens up at a 90-degree angle, and it's just an open window, so there isn't a camera cover or anything. From what I can tell, 90 degrees does provide a solid angle to view videos while your phone is on its side. While the kickstand is fully open, the phone is pretty steady, but closing the kickstand at all does make it slightly more wobbly. However, this case does have the same issue as the Supcase one, where it's just not built for FaceTime calls or vertical support. But unlike the Supcase one, this kickstand snaps right back into place and it's super satisfying. The presence of the MagSafe ring is indicated via this barely visible ring of a different tone of black in the center of the case. Overall, there isn't a hugely noticeable difference in terms of magnetic strength. The case itself is slim and light, so it shouldn't take a lot of strength to hold onto it. And from what I can tell, the magnets used for this case are more than satisfactory. So this ESR case is specifically designed for simplicity. The kickstand is hidden away in the camera area, and the MagSafe ring is barely visible on the back. It's definitely made for people who prefer this type of clean and simple look, and would rather have the kickstand away from the body of the phone. However, the inability to prop up the device upright in a portrait position is a bit of a deal breaker for me, as I do like chatting with people on the phone, and I think it would get kind of awkward to have them staring at my ceiling while we do so. But if you're looking for a MagSafe kickstand case that is clutter-free, this is your winner. And those are all the kickstand cases I have for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I hope this video was of some help to you if you happen to be in the market for a new case. If you are interested in any of the cases in this video, I have links to all of them in the description box, so check it out. Once again, thanks for sticking with me until the end. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!